Come friend, now lend me an ear, for a tale of Victor the Weird. He went on an adventure with he, him, and himself, and also his mighty fine beard. Now gather round, I'll tell you about this mighty beast. He may look as human, as mere as you, friend, but soon your eyes will feast upon this marvelous creature with many body parts. His one shirt may fool you, but what if I told you his chest had 4 red hearts? One mouth but 1,000 voices, one mind and limited choices. 2 handsome dice, 2 handsome dice. The audience rejoices. He's going to play D&D with him, himself, and he. Those are his pronouns, it's really profound. It's time for D&Me, featuring Victor and Victor and Victor, and Victor and Victor and Victor, and Victor and Victor and Victor and Victor and Victor and Victor. One knows who knows how many repeats. So come and sit down in an empty seat. It's time for D&Me. 2 eyes, 4 cheeks, 2 souls on his feet, 2 hands for making and foes to defeat, 1 tongue, 2 lips through which to speak, but just one but.
Hello, I'm Victor Rivera, and welcome to D&Me, where I play with myself. I play D&D with myself. Welcome. Thank you for the new theme song, Bradley Owens. They wrote and performed it, and you can find them at Bradley Owens on Instagram and stuff. Nailed it. Half a dab. Hello, welcome to episode 12. I'm very glad to be here. Thank you for joining me. The biggest thing up front, I'm sorry about last episode. Episode 11, I was very, 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 very tired, and I grew frustrated with myself, and that wasn't fun for me. So I learned a couple lessons, and one of them being I tried to make more things happen in the 2 hours, and that wasn't very fun. I tried to just, I was like, okay, the scene's fine, but we have stuff to do. I have so much stuff to do. I have hundreds of pages of stuff to do. After that, I'm going to start another campaign book. So, Victor, you're good. I promise. So, I want to try a couple things out. I want to give myself time to enjoy the scenes, because that's my favorite part of D&D, is me acting. That's roleplay, baby. That's my career. So, I'm not going to speed run D&D, because that's not what this show is. This show is enjoying the scenes. So that, and then tonight I will try to do 2.5 hours of content. For the podcast, it might be, I don't know how that's going to translate, but I'm going to go until 9:30 today, Eastern time. So that's a really great gift to myself. So thanks. And speaking of thanks, I'm going to do the last section of D and Dedication, or D and the people who worked on Waterdeep Dragon Heist next episode. This episode, I'm going to start a new series called Thanks, where I am going to thank a couple people. For example, this week, for the very first thanks, thank you, Dungeons and Daddies. They are a fantastic podcast. Yesterday, they released their season 1 finale. They had 68 episodes, and the 68th one came in a 2-parter, so there was 68 and then 68 part 2. So that's the greatest troll of them all. They had 69 episodes, but they wouldn't go for the lowest hanging fruit. Thank you, Dungeons and Daddies, and congratulations on season 1 finale. It's a beautiful story. I will talk all about Dungeons and Daddies in the Adventure Zone and Critical Role in another D&Me. But thank you. Thank you, Freddie Wong. Thank you, Matt Arnold. Thank you, Will Campos. Thank you, Beth May. Thank you, Anthony Birch. And now, here's the secret reason I did that. So this week I came up with, I made an IMDb page for D&Me. So this podcast and this show is official on the International Movie Database. So you can find a link where? On the link tree. You can find it And then it has me as the writer and the director and the editor and the cast and the executive producer. I have my family as associate producers, which is amazing. But it's an official IMDb page now. IMDb. Yeah, I'm dyslexic, so I always mix the last two around. And they have a special category right at the end called Thanks. So for episode 12, the Dungeons and Daddies crew is now tied to this episode and to my series. So when someone looks on IMDb, they're going to see Victor Rivera at the top and then everyone I want after that in the thanks. Mwahaha! That's some BBEG stuff. That's the big bad evil guy. The big bad at the end. That's the level I'm working at. So episode 12. Oh, amazing. Cool. So, two Dean revisions. One, I was editing episode 4, which is Shops in Snowy Streets. And I forgot that Toot Toot bought stretchy hats for his ears. So I didn't say that specifically after episode 4, but assume whenever he's stepping outside into the cold, that he gathers his ears into the hats. So there you go. It's an assumed detail now. And then 2, at the end of the last episode, I said Rainier gave over 2 silver ingots, but he had only 1 because, excuse me, because Onyx dropped both ingots. He found 1 in the muck of the sewers underneath the Waterdeep. And then I let Rainier carry that silver ingot at the end of that episode, Crappy Encounters. But then after the Intellect Devourer confrontation in Q7, then I forgot that Onyx already doesn't have the ingot. So I re-gave the ingot to Rainier to hold on to when they were escaping through the tunnel into the Peabodys. So at the end, I'm pretty sure we're going to have the whoever ends up running the D&Me wiki. Whoa, D&Me wiki. They're going to keep track of that, and they'll keep track of my D&M revisions. So like episode 35, I'm going to have someone hired on staff salary to do that. So I'm pretty sure Rainier only had 1 silver ingot to give, and that's what I'm sticking with for right now. So episode, again, 17, I'll go, okay, so another D&M revision is, And lastly, before I get into the show proper, I have D&M research after the fact. So I was going through preparation for Waterdeep Dragon Heist, and again, on Wednesdays, I spend the whole day leading up to the adventure just planning and reading over my notes because I have so many notes everywhere. And one of the things that I came back to, and I was like, what month is this? Because I chose winter. But I, Victor, like knowing all the specifics, all the continuity details, and just the minutiae. That's very interesting to me. So I looked up the D&D calendar. The Forgotten Realms, which is pretty much the basis of all D&D, has its own calendar, and it's surprisingly a lot more efficient than the Gregorian calendar. Are we in the Gregorian calendar? I don't know. Than whatever 365 mess we're dealing with. Like February is 28 days. So today I made a calendar, and here it is. So again, every week, instead of 7 days, they have a 10-day week called a 10-day. And so they have 12 months of 3 10 days each, which is so ding-dong efficient. And then for the article, I read that like they have 5 extra days somewhere around here. And I don't want to deal with that. So in fact, I made this and I printed that out and it looks very good. But here is the calendar of Harptos. And as you can see, so we are in midwinter, which is the upper, it's northeast pretty much. So we are past midwinter, and we are in the month of Chess, or Shay, which is pretty much 3 o'clock, which is pretty much March. So that's really neat. they have 12 months and spring equinox and stuff. And here are, like, the months have their own, like, subtitles, which is cool. So for Chess or Shay, it's The Claw of the Sunsets. And I rolled to see what specific day episode 1 took place, and that was the 14th. So Shay, it's either Chess or Shay if I want to be fancy. So let's do Shay for a little bit. So Shay 14th, that was episode 1 through 3. Shay 15th, that's the 4th through the 11th. And then the 11th started the 16th. So we are in Shay 16 right now. So that's really cool, and I wanted to share that with y'all. They had the cute, cool, like, compass looking guy on the internets, but they didn't have, like, an actual usable. So I'm gonna have this in my notes, and I'm gonna, like, write down. I'm gonna keep track of real time in game days, because that's awesome for me. So we are in March, but it's still like the cold, like blustery, wintry March. So that's that. All right, let's get into it. So the D&M recap, episode 11, which is called Rat and Real Estate. So that we wound down the second day here in Waterdeep with returning to the Yawning Portal and handing Floon over, who was rescued, and finding Rainier also, to follow them get on. And then they had a night of merriment, and as they wound down, then they each, Onyx and Tipsy and Rock and Toot Toot, had magical discoveries made in their bedrooms, which, boy howdy, that sounded not great, huh? But then they woke up and they met Volo in the morning. Toot Toot went to go talk to Ban really quick in order to figure out how that informant stuff is going to go down. And it was kind of a one-sided conversation. But then Volo took them through Waterdeep. This map is getting beat up. All right. Took them from the Yawning Portal in the Castleard. Is that right? Oh, dear. And this week, I also outlined all the wards on the map, so it's a lot easier. Yeah, so Castle Ward. They took them up through to explore the Troll Skull Manor up in the Northward, and then they went back to the Castle Ward to sign over the paperwork, and then, oh, that's why, yeah, I threw a whole bunch of information right at the end of last episode. So they had to register as arcane magic users also with the Watchful Order of the Magistrates and Protectors. Way! There we go. And so then they kind of were left to their own devices. Yeah. So right at the beginning, Toot Toot. So then Volo handed over his guide to Waterdeep, which is at the end of the Waterdeep campaign Dragon Heist book, and it was a lot of pages, like 25 pages, and drew a map of the neighbors that they could meet. And yeah, kind of left them to their own devices. So with newly signed and stamped paperwork in front of Troll Skull Manor, which I have a background for. So this is the Troll Skull Manor. It's pretty dilapidated. There are some creepy crows flying around. Yeah, so that's the Troll Skull Manor. And standing outside of it are our boys looking down from the manuscript that was given to them, and then looking up to the 3 or 4 stories, and then the turrets and the creepy, because it's snow. There's snow all around, so it's not as creepy as like a super, like what this background is right now with the dead trees outside. So like the roofs have a couple inches of snow on top of it, and it's all fresh snow pretty much in front of it. So it's a palate cleanser instead of this creepy background. And Toot Toot goes, "We have a house. That's exciting. Huh, boys? We have a manor." Tipsy goes, "Finally. It was about time." "Really? Were you expecting to have a manor sooner?" "Well, things happen when they happen, but give me a key." "Oh, yes. Rock." And then Rock is holding an iron set of, like an iron ring with like 6 keys on it, and Rock goes, "Oh, okay. One for you, Tipsy. One for you, Onyx." "Thanks." "One for you, Toot Toot." "Thank you." "And then one for me. I will keep this on my person, and we will all keep it safe." Everyone gets their own key. We have a couple left over. Tipsy, you are a sneaky individual. Damn straight! Where do you think would be best to, like, do we hide these outside? Like, do we hide them under a rock? A rock? That's you! Mm-hmm. Toot Toot, where should we put these? I think a rock is good, like an inconspicuous rock, and then Tipsy does the gimme hand, and he's reaching up to Rock. "No, I know a couple places where I can put them. Just give me one of them, and then you can hide the other one. And you know what? This'll be fun. You hide the other one, and I will prove my roguish worth to try and find that key. And then if y'all want, we can make like a bet on it too." So this is like 3 layers deep of dramatic irony. "So you two hide that key somewhere, and then me," and then he looks over at Onyx, who's just kind of stomping around in the snow a little bit and not paying attention at all. "Me will hide this key. And yeah, that'll be an ongoing thing. So do we do that now?" I think what would be best," says Toot Toot, "is if we divvy up the rooms, first of all, for dibs." Dibs! Dibs, yes, dibs. And then, since we have a manor, then it was not furnished when we were inside, which is a bit unfortunate, because I don't know if we have furniture money, but if we're living here, then we definitely need a bed. So I say dibs first on bedrooms, and then we can furnish the bedrooms with beds. And I think that would be a good first step. And then after that, we were talking for a while about the various things that we need for our inventories. So rooms first, then beds. Then we can get other things that we need. Sound good? Yes, that sounds very good. Yeah, it sounds pretty good. Wait, what were you guys talking about? Okay, let's go in. So then they go inside, and then I have, again, here a blueprint of the Troll Skull Manor and Tavern. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's very cool, and thank you, Dyson Logos, again, for doing all of the interior blueprints and maps of everything. And they're delicious, and I love them. The hash marks are especially really good. So they go inside, and I didn't want to prepare this too much without y'all. I wanted to save it for the stream, but let's figure out where everyone... Oh, I should have put it on here so that we could look at the same time together. Well, okay. So, in that first room, we have the tavern. We have the tap room and pantry and kitchen. There's not a whole lot of living space. Onyx goes over here to this little, what the heck do you call that? Alcove that juts out. And he's like, "Can I have here?" And then the Tutu's like, well, that's a very good question. So since we have a manor, that's excellent. Do we want to also start up and before he can finish it, then Tipsy goes, "Gods, yes. I want so much to have a tavern." And then I wanted to wait to talk officially to you all about this, but I have an idea for the name, and I think it's the best. All right, go ahead. Tipsy's Tavern. I know it's simple, it's right there, but think of it, man. It has layers. Tipsy's Tavern is so good, huh? And then Toot Toot goes, that's actually very good. Rock, I think we need to have a tavern before we have the building, the edifice. However, we don't have any of the inner workings, and from what was thrown at us in the last episode, there's a lot of guild work in order to make sure a building is up to code, I guess. And this does not. And then he looks around at just the cobwebs and the dust, but also the wood paneling, like peeling off, showing just kind of maybe black mold underneath. And he's like, I think maybe figuring out the name of the tavern would be further along down the list. I think we need a tavern first before we can name it, but for right now, that is a strong first choice. Tipsy's Tavern. It's alliterative. I like that. Alliteration is one of my favorite things. I feel like often our adventures are very alliteration-driven. Or rhyming, or, so that works. But let's call it... Let's figure it. Let's continue. And so they kind of don't really agree on. They're thinking about it. How about that? They're all thinking about whether or not they're going to do the tavern. So they go upstairs, and then what's better for me? Oh dear, this isn't great. Okay, there we go. They go up the first floor, and then they look around, and they see the den, and the common room, and the hall, and the bedroom, and a spare room. And Toot Toot goes, okay, I'm gonna just Rock goes, actually, I think there was something of interest in the third floor. And then he goes up, and then he heads straight for the librarian study, and then he stands in that room for a while, and the others go up the stairs and catch him in the open door, staring around at the bookshelves and just in awe. And Rock goes, gentlemen, if you don't mind, I don't really know how dibs works. I mean, I went to university, so I know how. Lord have mercy, come on. I went to university, so I know how childs lay claim on things. Can I have this room, please? And then Onyx pokes his head out, into the room and looks around. Oh, you can have it. And then with disgust, he leaves, and Tipsy goes, yeah, I mean, there are plenty of other rooms, and this room is huge. It's a little big for me. And then he looks up slyly, and then he leaves, and then Toot Toot steps next to Rock and puts a giant hand on his back, and he goes, Rock, welcome. Rock the Purple, welcome to your room. And then Rock goes, I am going to be in here forever. And then he kind of goes inside, and he a couple times now, Rock has been a little twirly. When he was in the Convex Crimson, then he was playing with the sleeves, and then when they left, then he was kind of twirling his new black robe, and so he goes inside, and then he twirls around, and then his robe gets caught up and then just swirls openly, and you can see a whirlwind of dust getting kicked up, and he the sound of music goes around, and he stops, and he's a little dizzy, and he goes, this is going to be amazing. I'm going to have a leather couch right here. Oh, many leather, citteries, like in the university. And then my bed, I'll sleep on the ground for all I care right now. Oh, this is great. Oh, and so he actually takes this is fun. He takes the books in his inventory. So he has a book, a spell book. The Cold Legal. Let's see. Volo's Guide to Monsters. The Map of Waterdeep. Additional orc information. The Scroll, Tube, and Deed for Trollskull Manor. The Map of the Neighbors, and then Volo's Enchiridion. And then he starts taking those out and putting them on the shelves and starts around. And it's floor-to-ceiling shelves, like on two of the main walls. Well, actually, so to look at the library and study again, then the north wall, the south wall, and the west wall that is not the door, then all of those is pretty much shelves. And then he's kind of zooming around going, and then a big table here, and then my bed could be by the window so that I could see, I can have a whole astrology thing, and then astronomy thing, and then a telescope and look out into the night stars. And then he like presses his glass up against the window and like looks out, and I don't know if they have neighbors here. Oh, that's a interesting thing for me to look up right now. All right. The way this is faced. Yeah, interesting. So he mushes his face up against the window, and then he looks towards the east, and then he can see over the other buildings around in the Troll Skull Alley. And he's like, I have a great view of the urbanscape. This is fabulous. And then he removes his face from the window, and he's still like kind of running around, and he's trying to figure out like what big pieces of furniture then he wants, but he's also going to the shelves and like dusting stuff off with one of his corner of his robe, and then putting some books up, and then one of them flops down, and there were 7 books previously, so he's also observing those titles. And the lusty Aragonian maid, okay, how to garden. I could do a herb garden right outside, like I could have little box windows. And he's just like a pig in mud. So that's great. And then they look around, and then Toot Toot goes, let's just look up the garrets. Let's look up the 4th floor, the garrets, real quick. And they go upstairs, and it's an attic bedroom and attic storage and turret peak. And then Toot Toot goes, well, gentlemen, to Tipsy and Onyx, and you can still hear the is this a secret passage? And he goes, gentlemen, do you have a preference? And Tipsy looks up going, it's a lot of empty rooms and a lot of potential. I can see us branching out. Tipsy's Tavern, and then Tipsy's Wear, and then like D&M merchandise. And Toot Toot, but where do you want to sleep? And then Tipsy goes, well, I am very small. And my early post today, because I try and do 2 posts kind of, and especially on a Wednesday, my early post, I did a height chart. So if you want to see that on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, like the height of all my characters, like to scale. So the 2'10" Tipsy next to the 7'3" Toot Toot is exactly what I pictured in my head. But then Brock ended up being just a little shorter than I thought, which, I mean, him still compared to Toot Toot is good. But Onyx turns out at 5'1", which is tall for a dwarf, to be really tall. I thought he was I thought on that scale it'd be closer to like 3.5, 4 feet tall. Just so that he's closer visually to Tipsy. But yeah. Let's see. My dad asks, do they have weekends? If so, how long? 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 9 days? That's a very good question. I don't know, because the 10-day, I would say for a 10-day, maybe like a 3-day weekend, or maybe they have every 5th day off. That makes sense, huh? Every 5th day off? like the 5th and the 10th and the 15th and the 20th, and that's interesting. Like working for 4 days and having 1 day off, or I don't know. Maybe it's a 4-day weekend, a 4-day work week, and then 2 days off, and then another 4-day. Well, that's 10. I don't know. I think maybe the 4-day to 1 day. That's if we're working off of a whole new matrix, then I think that's pretty clever. I don't know. That's a good question. Because yeah, working for like 8 days in a row is bonkers, or 7 days even. Like for a whole week. I think, okay, for right now, I will say that, yeah, they work Shay 1 through 4, then they have Shay 5 off, then Shay 6 through 9 working, and then Shay 10 off. But also, like, not everyone adheres to that. I like it. So, Tipsy goes, oh, well, so I don't take up a lot of room, so I could just have this spare room on the 2nd floor, which has only 6 squares, because that's a lot. He points to the bedroom, which has 12 squares, and he's like, that's so much space. I don't need that space. Me and Waddles. And then he pulls out Waddles, and Toot Toot straightens up a little bit more. Me and Waddles don't need that much space. We can, and then that, he says to himself, Tipsy, and that's closer to the 1st floor, the tap room, and the pantry, and the kitchen. And then he says to Waddles, and the pantry and the kitchen. Oh, yes. Yes, I think we will take that spare room. And then Tipsy then sprints to the stairs and then goes down. And then you hear, because he fell. And then he goes and claims that spare room. And then Toot Toot then looks down at Onyx, who was watching Tipsy run down, and Toot Toot goes, Onyx? Mm-hmm. Onyx huzz and then looks up at Toot Toot. Do you have a preference? All of these seem pretty good. And Onyx says, no, not really. Are you sure? I mean, have your pick. I let other people choose first, so like a quick look of concern washes over Toot Toot's face. Do you need help choosing? And Onyx goes, I'm fine. And they're kind of at the balcony. Well, no, the landing of the garrets right here next to the attic bedroom and the attic storage. And Onyx goes in that little hallway, and Onyx looks down. I could sleep here. Oh, that's fine with me. Sleep here? No, this is a hallway. If you want, you can have the attic bedroom. And then Onyx looks over into the attic bedroom, and he goes, it's okay. And then he looks into the attic storage, and he goes, that's fine too. And Toot Toot goes, you know what? Here, follow me. And then they go back downstairs to the 3rd floor, and then Toot Toot goes, I have a feeling, and stop me if I'm going too far or too personal, Onyx. Are we some of the only company you've ever kept? And Onyx says, all right. Well, please know, and then Toot Toot puts a hand on his shoulder, that I value your companionship, and I appreciate you getting us out of physical binds and tough situations, and we are here for you as well. I know you might have been called upon for just your might and your vigor, but I am excited to get to know you and consider you a friend, if that's okay with you. And then Onyx is quiet. He doesn't have a retort, a conversational grunt. He's just steeping in silence right now. And Toot Toot goes, here, I have an idea. And then takes him to the west, to go up against this door. Oh dear, which one is it? There we go. So to this bank of windows to the very west, and then they go one up, and Toot Toot goes, I saw from the blueprints that this is a really cool room. Here's why. So you go, they walk like the 15 feet to go into the room. Can you all see that? Walk 15 feet into the room. You have this kind of privacy, and then open up into this whole bedroom. You can do whatever you want, and then there's a private bath, and then Onyx looks into the private bath, and he goes, okay. But here's the cool thing. One, you have plenty of windows, so you can look all around, because I notice that sometimes you get a little distracted, or just you are not, we don't hold your interest, so these windows will be lovely. And then over here, and then he goes into the very north, and then the very west, and then opens a door. If you will follow me. And then it's a very tight squeeze for Toot Toot, but it's this kind of octagonal room. The bottom of some spiraling staircases, and he goes up, and then he opens a door, because I don't want it to be a trap door, because all the snow will go inside. So he opens a door to this little landing area, and above them is a roof that tapers off to a point, and then Toot Toot goes, Onyx, this is all yours. And then it's a 360 view, the highest point in this section of North Ward, and Onyx takes it all in, and he's drinking in all the visuals of going around the turret 360, and you can Toot Toot above him can hear a not the burp. Well, I mean the burp can be canon, but wow. And then Onyx looks up at Toot Toot. Thank you. And then Toot Toot goes, you are very welcome. You stay as long as you want up here. Enjoy your view. I will need to come up and enjoy it every once in a while also, if you won't mind. Oh, you're more than welcome. Thank you very much, Mr. Onyx. If you will need me, I will be downstairs in the master bedroom. And then Toot Toot then goes downstairs and leaves Onyx to it's midday. It's like 2:00 in the afternoon right now. And he's just in complete awe of this snow-powdered city in front of him. And then let's see what can we see up here in the I was gonna say Troll Ward, but in the North Ward, from the top of Troll Skull Alley, we can see, because this is a very plateau. It's winter also, so the atmosphere we can't see too far, but he can see sprawling buildings in every single direction. Yeah. And then pretty much southwest, he sees like the bottom of a mountain and then going up and disappearing a little bit into just the atmosphere. So he can't see beyond that, but just, and then to the immediate west, he can see, around him in the North Ward, there's just a bunch of 1- and 2-story buildings, normal roofs that are now snow capped. But beyond that, to the west, he can see grand, extravagant 5-6 stories up buildings, and that it's fenced off also, so he can tell that it's like a wealthier part, like a wealthier ward. So he just soaks it all in. And then Toot Toot goes downstairs to the master bedroom, which is right across the hall from the turret bedroom. And then he opens the door and goes, "This is a big room for a big boy. Yes. We will do a lot of things with this room. And then he enters into the 15 by 20. Is that big? That's what this room is pretty much. I have a pretty big room in my apartment, which I'm very thankful for. But he goes over and there's a fireplace. I think these are fireplaces. I'm not sure. These little guys? I think those are fireplaces because I don't know what else they could be. And then there's a big fireplace down here in the tap room. So I think that makes sense. What do y'all think it is? If it's not a fireplace. Then Tutu then goes into his private bathroom and he goes, oh. And then he turns on he twists one of the faucets and he's holding his breath a little bit. And then it spits into life and water is running. Because I'm not going to deal with not running water. Y'all, I don't know how to fancy that. Also, there are toilets. I'm not going to deal with outhouses and... What are privies? Are privies little bathrooms? Because there are 2 little bathrooms here, too. Let's see, there's a privy there and there's a privy there. I think those are like, a stall, pretty much. Like a toilet and a sink. That's what I'm going to say it is. And also, I can already picture that Onyx is never going to use his private bath. That he poked his head in, and that's the first and last time, pretty much, that Onyx is going to use that private bath. Because he's not a man of luxury, and because of his outsider background also, like, that informs him being just fine with sleeping in a hallway or down in the octagonal little deck area. Oh, Tipsy's room has a little patio, a little balcony also. So that's cool. Look at me. I'm playing Dollhouse with my D&D characters. I love it. That's some good water. I feel great, y'all. This is excellent. Good for giving me more time and forgiving episode 11, Victor. I forgive you and I love you. Scream. Great. So, then after a while of just, when you move into a new apartment and you're just like, the potential and looking around, then they all reconvene in the first floor and then Tutu goes, okay, so that's excellent. I will write down everyone's room later. But beds. I have a bedroll, but I would prefer if we can go and buy a bed today. I would prefer that. What else has everyone else got? And then Onyx goes, I have a bedroll. Great. You might just want we'll see if bed. You too? And then Tipsy goes, I have a lot, but I don't got a bedroll. I have a blankets, and one is being torn to shreds, according to my inventory. Yep, torn up into pieces. And then they all look at Rock, and Rock goes, I am more prepared for academic adventure rather than faring the wilds. And I am ill-prepared. I have quills and ink. I have ink, but not magic ink. I need to go get magic ink. That's one of my things. That if we could do that also today, please. And then they go, great. So let us look. Excuse me. Hold on a second. They all do the video game transition where they all four lean their heads in to look at Rock, who is holding the map that Volo drew of all the neighbors. And then they see the block that they're at, and then they see a couple houses like outlined and kind of highlighted, like in Sharpie rather than in pen, where the rest of the houses are. And then you hear just the voiceover of Tutu going, all right, so bed, let's see, not that. Here's a note. That's interesting. This note says woodworks, and then just an arrow upwards off of the map. That's interesting. The store is called The Forest for the Trees. I think that might be the first place. It sounds like it might be good furniture-wise. Shall we? And then they all go outside, and then they travel northward, into Northward. And then, yeah, they don't know that there's not like directions or a crossroads for this place. So they will all have to roll. And I switched out my dice because my other dice were telling me in another game that they were getting very tired, because these are balanced dice, and I use them for the past couple episodes, like the past 5 episodes. And then I was playing another game, and it was just 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. And I was like, oh, okay. I will switch you all out. So, Tipsy, so these are all perception to, like, look around the buildings and try and find the forest for the trees. 10 plus 8, 18. That's very good. Onyx, another 10. All right. Another 10, and then I'm changing this one out. Onyx, perception, 12. So 18 and 12. Rock, 15. Perception, 16. And then Toot, 9. Plus perception, that's 12. So plus 3. So Tipsy and Rock did pretty well. So they're looking around, and they follow the arrow upwards, and they're not finding it in this first block. And then they go up another block, and then they search like the 2 blocks east and west of it, and they're leading the way. They feel confident of going north, and then Onyx at one point gets a little turned around, and Toot has to, here we go, turret boy, and then kind of corrects him path northward. And then Tipsy and Rock go, well, okay, so the forest for the tree. And then they are looking again, and Rock, let's see. Rock has good wisdom, but his intelligence is good. And then Onyx. My characters are pretty smart. Toot. Okay. The spread is Toot has a +1 to intelligence and +1 to wisdom. Rock has... No, let's do Onyx next. Onyx has a +1 to intelligence and +2 to wisdom. Tipsy has a +2 to intelligence and +2 to wisdom. And then Rock has a +1 in wisdom, but +3 in intelligence. And then Rock is thinking about it, and he's confused because why would Volo draw a map and then not include something in the map, like drawing on the map? And so he goes with his intelligence. He's going to roll just straight intelligence. 6 plus 3. Let's do that investigation instead. So 6 plus 5, so that's 11. And he goes, this is very strange. Not on the map. Forest for the trees. Gentlemen, this might be... And then a spark in Rock's eyes. A riddle. So, let's try this. Everyone, since we were looking, let's try and investigate it. And so they're all going to roll again. Tipsy rolled a 12 plus investigation 14. Tipsy rolled 14. Onyx rolled 14 and then +1 investigation 15. 14, 15. 4. God damn it. Rock. So 9. 14, 15, 9. 14, 15, 9, 14. So with that, then Onyx goes, oh, you mean that building right there? And then it's hard to do a riddle by myself. So narratively that didn't, it's good. It's fine. So then he points to this barn looking building. Right in front of a tall brick wall that spans from one, like it just blocks off a whole section of the city. But in front of it is this giant barn looking building, wooden barn, and Onyx is pointing to a sign that says "The Forest for the Trees," and they Rock kind of brushes past Onyx and rustles his hair. Rustles his hair. Messes up Onyx's hair as he walks by and goes, "Very good. You figured it out." And then they go. So the barn, then Rock takes one of the barn doors and it slides. It opens from the middle, and so he takes one of them and slides it to the left, and then it opens up and it's warmer inside, and so they all file in, and then Rock closes the door behind him, and then inside they see this fabulous wood workshop, and it's kind of like a warehouse almost, where there are high windows on these 20-foot, 25-foot tall ceilings. The windows are high up on the walls, but they show off this very tall ceiling. And since it's snowy outside, then all the natural light that comes in is like that blank white, and it illuminates the front half of the warehouse that they can see. And there is, first of all, it's dirt floor, which is a little strange, but on the dirt floor there's like sawdust everywhere. Like there's plenty of sawdust, but also there are unstained big wooden tables, and there's dozens of them, and they're showing off sculptures and fine carved pieces and wooden weapons, and you try and look in the back of the warehouse, and they will do another one. No. So that was a 2, a 19, a 1, and then a 9. So so Tipsy, Rock, and Toot Toot look around and try and look into the back of the warehouse, but they don't see anything. And then Onyx does see something. But they're all looking around, and there are 25-foot tall planks of wood leaning up against some of the walls, and every increment of footage from 25. So there's like from 6 foot up, and then like 7 foot tall planks, and then there's just a whole bunch of lumber leaning up against the walls, and giant like oak trunks being worked on in progress in the back. And it's quiet also because of the sawdust on the ground and the dirt, but they're in a pretty quiet area in the North Ward. And you hear a and you see a figure rummaging around, and then the closing of the barn door gets this figure's attention. What? Oh, see it. And then he walks towards the group, and the group, for the most part, except for Onyx, take a step back and and then Tipsy goes, oh, okay. And then Rock goes, oh, I know what you are. And so then, emerging from kind of just the back half of the warehouse darkness up, is this humanoid figure, but it's like a tree also. So it has it looks like a tree trunk, like just the bottom of a tree, and two of its, well, okay, so the bottom are roots that all gather towards these two legs and feet, and then these branches that droop down and then form on the right hand, like you see kind of humanoid hands, but it's attached, so it's pretty much just like the upper arm and then the lower arm and then this bulb, this knot of wood, and then this giant club hang like just as an appendage. And then on the other arm it's an upper arm, lower arm, and then this wide wooden disc, so a shield, and it comes up, and then Rock goes, Volo described this in his book, The Guide to Monsters. This is a wood woad, and then he gestures towards the creature, who also then it's kind of when a tree snaps in half, so it has that jagged top, but also its face is like pieces of bark are torn from its face, and not like in a bad way, but it's just darkness inside, and there are these two motes of of yellow light, like kind of just floating in the darkness, and then they zoop over to see Rock go wood, and then it goes. Oh, great. Yes. What did I read about it? You are like a guardian, and you speak Sylvan. Is that right? Well. Great. I haven't used this spell yet. This is exciting. And then he goes, Do you think we have 10 minutes, or? And then Tutu goes, Oh, well, I get. Are you going to ritual cast something? I was going to, but if you think we have other more important things to do, I could not. And then Tutu goes, I think, honestly, I think if we spend 10 minutes not talking to this wood, then it'd be incredibly awkward. So if you wouldn't mind spending a spell slot. And then Rock goes, Oh, no, that is no problem at all. I'm going to... he steps forward and he goes, Sylvan. And then he kind of gestures his hand out a little bit, and this spark of magic, purple, like from his wrist, kind of just, and then floats downward. And then from inside Rock's head, with comprehend languages, then Rock can understand the literal meaning of spoken language heard. So he goes, ha, huh? And then the woodwode goes, What do you want? Ah, yes. And then he turns around to the group. I can comprehend, but with this, unfortunately, I cannot also respond in Sylvan. Do you know Common? What do you want? Do I have any other language spells? Detect magic. Uh-oh. Let me try. Bed. Mm-hmm. Bed. Sleep. Bed, sleep. Mm-hmm. And the woodwode is saying this in Common, not in Sylvan. Like, it doesn't translate. So he bed, sleep. Ruffles, thank you, Mom. 9 minutes ago, I just checked the chat, but Ruffles. Rock ruffles Onyx is here. But in Common, then the woodwode is going bed. I don't think he I don't think he gets it. Bad. And so then the woodwode is kind of like bumbling to itself, and then just and then is kind of stomping around a little bit and using its club arm to like just pound on the tables and bash up on its shield. Bad, 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 bad. And then Rock goes, oh no. And then he takes a step back, and then you hear a and then what Onyx saw earlier is in the very back of the darkened warehouse. Then you see shadows shifting, and Onyx no, and then you hear from the back bed, and in Sylvan, so only Rock heard the Sylvan bed, whereas the other ones just heard bed. And then Rock goes, oh, thank you. And then more shadows shift, and Toot Toot now is taking one medium step back. But Onyx is watching this happen, and then Tipsy is still watching the Woodwode kind of chaotically. Well, now the Woodwode is still and looking back into the depths of the warehouse, and then you hear mighty shifting, and the Woodwode turns to the shadows and goes, oh, bed. And so then goes to the one of the tables on the east side of the warehouse, and then emerging you see the light from the windows illuminate these naked branches scrape the ceiling, and this giant head of empty branches peers into the light, like the light shafts going on, and this giant tree is now walking, and it's very wooden features of the face, sunken black eyes, also like the Woodwode, but easily 15 feet tall. It emerges from the shadows. And then Rock looks up. Yes, Bed, we were trying to communicate with this Woodwode, but we are here looking for beds. Funny. And this giant fucking 6 foot diameter, no, that's very big, this 4 foot diameter arm, and these branches emerge from the shadows into this elongated hand with this branches and then twigs finger, and points at Rock, and he goes, you are not the type of orc I am used to. And then the arm recedes back into the shadows. Yes, I am proudly different.
Oh, and a forest gnome.
Then the giant head of this tree ant shifts and then stares down at Tipsy, and Tipsy goes, yep, so that's a Woodwode, and you're a tree ant. You're very big.
Thank you.
And then it takes a couple more steps into the light, and you see in its full splendor this giant tree being in the middle of this workshop. And as it fully emerges, then you can see more details. You can see the bark make up its face, and as it talks, then the pieces of bark move. But what's interesting is also a massive vegetation around its mouth, a gray teal handlebar of webbed, tangled vegetation make its way down from its like knot of a nose that's pointed, and you can see the same motes of, this time, orange light from the black darkness in its face, and then this moss goes down toward, like, halfway down. It's very Weeping Willow-esque also, because it kind of sways the bottom, and he goes,
I am Spanish Mustache. Welcome. Few make it to the forest for the trees. Most can't even see the building.
and at this point, the woodwode
Bad.
comes out from what it was messing with over at a table, and then comes out with this string that's kind of wrapped around poorly the club knot, and it dangles, and it has some black markings incrementally on them, and then goes up to Tipsy, and then puts the measuring string next to Tipsy.
Bad. Mm-hmm.
And then Rock can hear the calculations that are not 2'10", but some metric that Rock is unfamiliar with, and then it goes up to, and this woodwode is like 5'5". Yes, let's make that a thing. Boop. And goes up and measures Onyx, and then goes up to Rock, who is still kind of standing forward and talking to Spanish Mustache. Spanish Mustache. If Treebeard can be called Treebeard, then the woodwode goes up and measures Rock, and then goes up,
Bad.
and then looks around because it can't get to the top of Toot Toot, and he looks and he goes, and then drags with his shield hand, and it's not like hands that are grabbing onto these items, it's like the items have grown from the bottom of the arm, so it takes the shield and scoots a little wooden stool over, and then climbs on top of it.
Bad. I can make a bed. This will get bed. How many bed?
And then Rock goes, "Oh, okay," to the group. How many beds? Does everyone want a bed? And then they all nod. 4 beds, please.
4 bed. 4 bed?
4 bed, yes.
4 bed.
And so it kind of scurries off. It scurries into the deeper recess of the warehouse, and Spanish Mustache is there and looking.
How did you make your way here?
And Rock is, "That is a very interesting question. We, for the most part, don't really know how we made it to Waterdeep. Seems to be some magical... Oh, but I think you meant more how we found here. Well, Volothamp..."
Volo.
Yes, Volothamp. Drew us a map. Well, kind of.
And we are here now for bed. And do we buy the bed from you?
Yes. Woodrow
And then he turns his head to look at the woodwode who's running around.
Woodrow will spend time today making bed. Oh, where would you like them delivered?
Oh, we are the newest residents of the Troll Skull Manor.
Well, we have to fit that building haunted wood. We have some lifeless corpses of blights, if you would like.
And then he gestures over, and you can hear the of his like torso rotate and his arm extending out, and then the brush of his naked branches like just brush over all the wood. And he gestures, and leaning up against the west side of the wall are like these haunting looking, they're like Woodrow the Woodwode, but even worse. Like, they're tangled up, they're very Swamp Thing made up of vines, and they look like hollowed out husks that are just leaning up against the wall. And there's like it very much, when you look like at a cicada shell, like the husk, the shedding of a cicada, that's what these look like. And they're like a dark teal and the Spanish mustache gestures towards these lifeless corpses of blights, which are like these bad tree folk. And then Rock goes, "Oh no! Why would you offer us that? I think just normal wood would be fine."
Oh, okay. If you have Troll Skull Manor, then I thought you wanted the whole haunted aesthetic.
Now, you are the second being to mention that it is haunted. Volothamp said that he didn't encounter any spirits or specters or ghouls or goblins or ghosts.
That man knows a lot about a lot, but he does not know what he does not know.
And then Tipsy goes,
That is profound. Wow. I dig this tree, dude. I thought of something. If you wouldn't mind, Spanish mustache.
and then as Spanish mustache turns and looks at, is Spanish moss what I'm thinking of? I did a yeah, that's cool. And so as he shifts, also then like his mustache like gently shifts as then Spanish mustache settles, and then it kind of sways back and forth.
What is it, small forest gnome?
Okay, I did. How much wood would a woodwode if a woodwode would?
Try again.
How much wood would a woodwode if a woodwode would?
God damn it. Hold on. Sorry.
How much? Okay, and Tipsy. How much wood would a woodwode if a woodwode would?
Got it. And then Spanish mustache closes his eyes, and you hear just a couple seconds of as Woodrow, oh no. As Woodrow, you can hear some
Whoa, man!
And just he's darting around, and then you hear more.
At maximum, as much as a wood could, but never more than a wood should.
And then Tipsy goes,
Yeah, man, you're 2 for 2. That's mine was a joke, but he got it. Great, thank you. Oh, actually, since we're here, well, okay, so let's go over some specifics.
Okay.
So you're gonna deliver the beds. And then you hear from the back, bed, bed, yes, beds. Wow. So you're gonna deliver the beds to the Troll Skull Manor, which might soon be called Tipsy's Tavern, if if you are interested.
It's a good name.
Yes. So you'll deliver the beds?
I have ways of getting the beds to you, yes.
Awesome. And then we pay now? So they're going to be bespoke beds. Do we pay now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, before we, finish this transaction, I have a couple things.
and then he opens up his magic backpack and then fiddles inside.
Let's see, some wooden items. How much will you knock off my bed price for this?
And then he handles up this long spear.
And he goes, the tip is a little blunt, but it's still a good, that's a good length of wood. That's 5 feet?
And then you hear, and Spanish Mustache holds out his hand, and Tipsy puts the spear in it. And then he handles it a bit.
The tip of the spear is broken, so 8 shard.
8 shard. Oh, shard is silver. Okay, great. That's not as much as I was hoping for, but that's fine. I need to get rid of it in my inventory. How about this?
And then he expends a lot of effort to lift this giant club out of his backpack. Hold on, sorry. Tipsy's squealing, and then
Bad!
brings out a very big a club that's bigger than Tipsy, so he's kind of, and then he takes a couple steps back to the left, and then whoa, and it tips over, and he takes a couple steps to the right to adjust, and it's very Three Stooges. And then using another finger, then Spanish Mustache grabs the club.
That is a giant club from a giant.
No, it is not.
No, it's written in my inventory as giant club.
It is a great club.
See, great club. That's even better than a giant club.
2 shard.
2 shard, great. Okay, well, we're back up to a gold. So you can, okay, you get, well, do you buy stuff?
Of course.
Great, yeah, so just knock a gold off of my price.
And then Onyx takes out from his backpack.
How about this? Wait, hold on.
And then he holds up this quarter staff, which is 6 feet tall, and he looks over to Rock.
All right, last time, do you want this?
No, I have my quarterstaff already. I told you.
Okay, I just want to make sure. How about this?
And then Spanish Mustache looks over.
A staff. 2 shard. Okay.
And Tipsy's like, man, you could negotiate for more. Is that all you have?
Yeah, that's all I have.
You can negotiate for more.
You didn't negotiate.
You know what? That's true. All right, my good tree, my good woodland being. Here you go.
And then they hand off those items from their inventory, which I've been holding on to for 12 episodes and wanted to get rid of. But I needed to make a shopping episode. And might be a couple shopping episodes. But I'm taking my time now, so wink. And then as all of this transpires, and then Woodrow is running bad, back and forth, Toot Toot goes, also, for these beds, I'm imagining that Woodrow is building the bed frames and the bed springs. But are the bed springs wooden also? The box frame, I imagine 100% wood's gonna be great. But the actual bedding, will that be? And then he looks down at the sawdust. Would that be and then Spanish Mustache, having accepted the spear, giant club, and staff, and the arm extending back into the shadows to put it deep into the warehouse, goes,
the bedding will be good. We are paired with an excellent fabricateur.
A fabricateur? It sounded like you just made up the word. That's excellent.
Because Victor did. The bed will be included in the price.
Well, great.
Excellent. Thank you. That's wonderful. By what time would you say this would be? I know it's afternoon. Would it be available by today?
Woodrow is very capable.
Great. Thank you. But if you don't mind me asking, this might be implied, and you may tell me to stop. But how, would and you as a treant and Woodrow
Bad!
Jim, is I just want to make sure that this is okay and above the boards.
I have been in Waterdeep for centuries, and as the city was built up around the foot of the mountain, I was in charge of tending to the forests. I kept the urban growth away as much as I could for as long as I could. And after many decades, the growth of the city became too much.
And then the orange motes of light turn red.
Too much was civilization encroaching onto...
And then you hear
things being dropped onto tables, and then Woodrow kind of scampers out of the shadows towards my four boys, bed, and pushing them back a little bit, and they take the hint and they step back, and then Spanish mustache straightens up, and then you can hear the scraping of the empty branches on the ceiling.
And I could not stop them, and they took from my forests building materials, and their thirst for wood became insatiable.
And he's straightening up, and Woodrow goes,
Bad.
and then the boys are like, they start to ready actions. Onyx is getting his ice anchor out already, and Rock is going, oh no, and then is twirling magic in his hands. But then Woodrow is
Bad.
You hear this giant sigh, and air actually passes over my four boys and Woodrow, and Spanish mustache slouches a little bit.
But then, as the city grew and more people came, then the kind-hearted also came, and druids, and those attuned with the nature magics. They helped replenish the forests, and we worked together to restore the natural balance.
And then he slouches down, and you can hear the of the naked branches. Boy, howdy, he's taking out my voice. So Spanish mustache lowers back down.
In fact, there is one faction who is helping me plant to replenish what I oversee. Giving back to the forests, because I am now, and have been for many years, the caretaker of the trees here in Waterdeep. I am the guardian. Woodrow.
And then Woodrow steps forward nervously.
Bad.
Also helped me.
And then Rock goes, yes, if you don't mind, I have read about woodwoads. And then Woodrow straightens up,
Bad.
and then looks up at Rock, and Rock nods, and then Woodrow goes,
Bad.
and then he scampers back off to resume his work. And Rock goes, woodwoads
Bad.
are very, very tipsy in this sense of humor, but woodwoads are they sacrifice themselves to help guard and protect the forests and woodlands and nature. And from what I read, it is a bit of a graphic endeavor, but what was his area of wood consumed by the people here?
Yes, us tree folk are, for the most part, immortal, so rather than tend to a field of dead trunks, then I had Woodrow come here.
Ben!
Woodrow come here to assist me in making beds.
And then after everyone's sitting in the silence after a good story, and Tipsy goes, no. Rock goes, thank you for sharing that. Is there anything we could do to help?
If you are interested in nature and its preservation, then the Emerald Enclave might be good for you.
And they go, yes, they were talking. Is that one of the factions?
Yes.
We will keep that in mind. The Emerald Enclave. We like nature, huh? And then Onyx goes,
I'm pretty good with nature.
let's see, who has the best nature skill, actually? Okay. Onyx goes,
I have a +1 in nature.
and then Tipsy goes, a +1. I have a +2 in nature. And then Tutu goes, I have a +2 too. And then Rock goes, well, I actually have you all beat. I have a +3 in nature, because that goes along with, and he taps his head, intelligence. So this might be a faction we might be interested in. Thank you very much. How much do we owe you for the box frames and bed frames and furniture on which to sleep upon? And then Spanish mustache. Let's see. What's a good amount? Because these are beds. What's a good amount to spend on a bed? For he points his giant arm towards Toot Toot.
20 dragons.
And Toot Toot goes, oh, these are hopefully quality beds. 20 dragons sounds good. And then he points to Rock.
17 dragons.
I can afford that easily. Is that a lot? This is all fine. Points to Onyx.
12 dragons.
And then points to Tipsy.
7 dragons.
And then Tipsy goes, okay, well, dragons are gold, right?
Yes.
And then is that, and you mark a gold off of that because of what me and
That is with a dragon knocked off.
And another blush of wind coming across the boys, and especially Tipsy. And Tipsy goes, that is perfectly fine. Yep, 7 dragons. Here we go. And then all my boys cough up some gold. And then Woodrow is just furiously scurrying across this whole scape and arranging some stuff, and you can just hear a lot of just a lot of stuff being woodworked. And Rock goes, thank you very much. Thank you, Woodrow. He is a good one. And it was a pleasure meeting you, Spanish Mustache. Yes, thank you. And we appreciate the delivery of the beds.
You are welcome.
And after Spanish Mustache accepted the gold, then he steps back into the shadows, and you hear as he collapses back into his sitting position, which now everyone's eyes have adjusted to the back half of the warehouse, and you can see even more just big grand wood workings, and you see along the back like these giant airplane hangar doors, where you can imagine that's how he gets in and out of this barn. And then after he settles, and then you can kind of hear the settling of the empty twigs and branches. Then as you look up, then Spanish Mustache looks just at like another art installment in this warehouse of wooden sculptures and giant marvels. And that's what Onyx saw right at the beginning, was this giant tree kind of slumped up against the corner, and like its head is bowed so you can see the canopy, and he's balding a little bit, but if he's not moving, then he just looks like a slumped over like siesta kinda, with the big old sombrero of empty branches. And with that, since we're going until 9:30 tonight, I'm actually going to take a restroom break. So I'm going to play a intermission that I have brought up, and I'm going to grab some more water too, and I'll see y'all back here in like 2 minutes. So please enjoy my commercial reel.
Hello. I'm the sandwich aficionado. I used to rap in college. I rapped about bread. They'd call me Two Slice. And some other things. A bacchanalia beef lust. The sweet sarcasm of maple bacon. The Kabyle stone Kaiser roll dusted in corn, not mutton bone, as was the custom in the 16th century.
Victor, I'll have you go first. I'm going to go around the table. I want you to keep it simple and be clear and concise. Victor, would you like to get us started?
Absolutely. Nos autem fratris transfigurave in RSA et AES et secure anti-information.
You guys are brilliant, and I love what you bring to the table.
Times change. Now you can set a budget and receive alerts about your progress. Times change. Now you can go online to schedule an appointment. Sweet time.
Oh, it's 8 o'clock!
Wait, for real? Cut! Sorry.
From the Atlanta Braves.
It's a baseball player. How can one baseball player do this to us? Why aren't you wearing any shoes? We have to get the punk who did this to us. Whoa!
So I got my buddy here. Yeah, there he is. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stop! Oh, stop. My cash pop number today is 6.
Like, haha funny? You mean all pixelated, blurry, and cropped weird? Just email everybody and send them a new file. I'm gonna do a blacksmith workshop. This is now a hostile work environment. I'm gonna call HR. Hello, HR? Yeah, it's Rachel again. I voted for my producer because I like hot breakfasts and a crafty with fruit snacks. Decaf chocolate milk. We're gonna go inside and challenge some folks to play a new game called Flanks. If they win, I have to give them $20. But if they lose, I'm gonna drink their beer.
I'm back,
Yeah, I drank that whole water bottle. I didn't know that Spanish mustache, his voice would be so challenging. Well, it sounded great, but it did a number on my voice. So I'll wait a little bit, like 1 more minute, just to let people file back in if they need to. If they use the restroom as well. Fun tidbit for the Ent. Oh shoot! Hold on. Check. For the Ent in Lord of the Rings, it was voiced by John Rhys Davies. Is that how you say his name? John Rhys Davies. Yep. He was voiced by John Rhys Davies, who also played Gimli, who is my favorite.
Never touch a dwarf.
Yeah. Treant. A huge plant. Chaotic good. So, there we go. I didn't mean for him to be like the full-on Mexican archetype with like the mustache and the sombrero and leaning up against the wall, but there we go. And the Spanish mustache. That all just narratively woven together. All right, here we go. So then, after they head out and close the barn doors, then Toot Toot goes, "Wow, that was really cool, huh? Do we want to be part of the Emerald Enclave?" Rock goes, actually, I would prefer to know all of the factions so that we can make an informed decision, because, like, what they were saying in the magistrates, the city hall, that we need to sign up to be a part of guild, which I think we are already in, but I want to inform myself more on the guilds and the factions, just in case there is another good one. But what shall we do next? We have other things in our inventory, and then Tipsy goes, "Yeah, man, I want to keep selling stuff. That was good. I got a gold knocked off. Not to brag, but I'm a pretty good negotiator." You didn't negotiate at all. All right, let's just go. Let me look at this map. And then Tipsy grabs the map, and then you see the camera again focus in on the map over their shoulders, and Tipsy goes, "Okay, so I got rid of my spear. I kept one of my spears, just because it's a good ranged weapon. I have metal stuff. Can we go get metal stuff next?" Metal stuff, says Toot Toot. Let's see. Here is a good metal stuff place looking thing. And then they go back, because this is a couple blocks away. The forest for the trees is 1, 2, 3, like 3 or 4 blocks north. So they go back to the Troll Skull Alley, which is this little block, and then they go to a building that is right next to. I have so many notes. I have the poster map to look through, and this campaign guide, and this other map, and my notes, and all right. So, yes. So they go to the north entrance of their Troll Skull Alley, and then go south to cut across the street. So they go to Del Zorin Street, and inside, you see as they walk up this stout little building, which has 1 floor, but then also like it has a roof that looks like it takes up 2 more floors, but it's very steep, so it looks kind of gnome-esque, of just like a stout building with a really tall attic, kind of, and reading all of this. So, as they approach what they read on the map, that is steam and steel, then as they approach, then smoke and steam billow from the many windows around this indoor forge. So as they walk up, then the stout building has all of its windows open and like just billowing smoke, and it kind of looks like the building's on fire in that regard. So all my boys kind of quickly like run, because like literally it's like 3 windows on all 4 sides, 3 windows on each side, and just this pillar of gray smoke billowing out towards the heavens. And so they all run up, and then Toot Toot flings open the door and is everything okay? And then you see just Smoke cough to meet him, and like you see him opening the door, and then very cartoony Looney Tunes, like this like biscuit of smoke come out, and you see a Toot Toot outline, and then it like the cloud keeps going up, and then you hear inside,
Yeah, no, I'm good. Oh boy. Well, no, I'm good. Come on in.
and then as the smoke like clears out, then you see around Toot Toot's like knee, like these hands wave and like usher Smoke out of the windows, and you see this little figure just go and wave out, and as the smoke clears, then you can see inside this this forge where there's a lot of metal everywhere, metal tables, and it's the like garage where it's motorcycle stuff, so it has like that diamond pattern to some of the metal, like the table surfaces, and there's a whole bunch of metal weapons all on the walls, like swords and shields, and it's a low ceiling too, and it has like this net of chains that cross, and it's kind of like this billowy like canopy for a 4-poster bed, but of chains, and there's like hooks in the chains, and they're pinned up to the ceiling, but there's also like gears and stuff dangling down from them, and just every table has a whole bunch of schmutz on it, either stuff to make fires or the tools of the trade in order to do metalworks. And inside you see this kiln kind of, you see this roaring fire inside this forge, and you see like a bucket in front of it and an anvil, and the hands, as the smoke clears out more, are connected to this halfling woman, and she is wearing a heavy leather smock and these like dragon hide gloves, and like her face is covered in soot, and her eyes have these goggles over them with red glass for the eyes, and she's that was a bit too much. I can admit that. And she waves around, and she goes, okay, but we're all fine now. Just the last little bit of smoke is clearing out, and she goes over to there are like 40 of these chains that dangle down with different handles on them, and they're all halfling height, but the handles vary from like a nice polished wood finish and like some gears. And when you go into Lowe's, then you look at all of the doorknobs and cabinet door hinges and stuff. It's a whole variety and like that. And she goes, yeah, sorry, just one more second and we should be good. And she yanks down on the chain, and then you hear and then the windows all close down, and it's now suddenly dark, and it already kicks up like this heat inside. And then she steps forward and she takes her heavily gauntleted hands and moves the goggles up, and then you can see like the soot outline, and she looks up and goes, "Hi, how can I help you?" And then from the back room, then it's not even like a door, but these when you go into a car wash and then you have those thick panels of like really thick fabric, it's a doorway that has like 4 of those dangling down. And then from the top of it, then a blur flies around, and like it just spits out of that back room and then does a couple laps, and is just childlike screaming and laughing. And what you see as your eyes adjust to kind of this darkness again, but the intense red from the kiln lighting up everything, kind of bottom lighting everything to make the chains look super ominous. And what's zooming around is this halfling girl, and she is just cackling and laughing, and she's zooming around, and following her is this orb, this glass sphere, with a couple a little bit of like silvery rope tied around it a couple times, and then attached to the waist of this girl. And inside the globe is this small baby that's curled up and is sucking on her left thumb and is clapping her hand on the other on her like other hand, and both of them, and she's laughing and the halfling girl is laughing, and they're both zooming around the room. And the halfling woman looks up and goes, "Hey, get down from there. Hey, psst, come here. Smalls, Bubbles, you get down here right now." And then taking wider loops around the metal forge is this halfling girl who the laughing comes to like its denouement, and she's slowing down, and the globe is kind of drifting up because when she was going full speed, then the like toddler had the globe like following her like horizontally, but now as Smalls floats back down, then the globe, the balloon, floats back up, and this halfling woman goes, "Now, was that fun?" And then Smalls, the halfling girl, goes, "Yes." And then the woman goes, "Okay, but was it safe?" "I mean, I was taking care of him." "Was it safe, though?" "What? Not the safest thing I've ever done." "Exactly. All right, now land." And then Smalls, who was just hovering, kind of lands. And then the woman goes, "All right, now check on Bubbles. Is Bubbles okay?" And then the girl now, who has the silvery rope around her waist, is holding the rope like a balloon and looks up. And then inside the globe is the small baby who's still sucking on a thumb and is looking down with a big grin on her face.
Bubbles looks okay.
All right. Now, I mean, that did look fun, but go find your dad, okay? We have customers. And then Smalls looks up at the customers, and she says, "Hi." And then Toot Toot, the towering Toot Toot, who's crouched down a little bit not to get his tusks tangled in the web of chains above. "Hello."
"Hi.
Hello. And Smalls kind of does the, like the child wave, a whole bunch of waves. And then if you're looking at the bubble, then Bubbles is also from sucking her thumb, then is doing the baby like grabbing wave at all of them with just wide eyes and are just watching. And then the woman goes, okay, now seriously, go find your dad. Okay? Hey, I love you. I love you too. Get out here. So then Smalls starts walking briskly towards the back room again, and then as the woman turns around to face up towards my 4 boys, then Smalls kind of peeks over her shoulder and then sees that her mom's not watching, and then she like lifts off a little through the thick curtains and then into the back room, and then she goes, kids, am I right? And then Tipsy goes, I know all about that. Hi. And then she goes, hi. How can I help you? And so she goes over to the anvil and takes off her dragon gloves and puts them on the anvil. And yeah, what can I do for you? Welcome to Steam and Steel. I'm Kylor. What you got? And then Tipsy goes, oh, okay. Well, do you buy stuff? Yeah, I buy stuff. Like, that's half of the business. That's half of business. Okay, well, I just want to make sure. I have a couple things from this magic backpack. And so he takes out the backpack and then he goes, like this fragile pole. And then he does the magic trick again that he did with the spear, and he lifts up this 7 foot tall, so it kind of scrapes and gets tangled up in the chains above, and he goes, oh, yeah, ding. And so he then kind of maneuvers it and does almost Austin Powers, going up and going back and scooting it up. And since it's a fragile pole, then I will do that a dexterity throw, because it's a fragile pole, and he's 12 plus 3, 15. Okay, so he manages to guide it out, and now it's just awkwardly like he's holding it above his head and above her head, Kylor's head, and kind of up and not hitting anything on the sides. And he goes, how much do you want for a fragile pole? And then she's like, can I see it? Yeah, here you go. Hey, okay, careful. Well, and then it like wobbles on the ends, and he hands it over to her, and she's like, oh, this is and then she like still holding it above her head, both of the small races heads. Then she's like, okay, I'll give you like 5 silver for it. And then Tipsy's like, man, all of these just silver stuff. Yeah, it's fine. Fine. And then she, much expertly, that's an 11. That's a 2. She has plus stuff. So she like, whoop, and then she expertly kind of like some martial art cool stuff with the bamboo poles, like bamboo staffs, that none of my boys can do. But she kind of jabs it into the ceiling and then tucks it underneath the stand where the anvil is, and it's at this like dangerous curve now, but it's in place. And she's like, yeah, 5 silver. What else you got? And then Tipsy's like, that was really cool. Do you want neither. Okay, here's a sickle. And then he pulls out like the curved sickle from his backpack, and she's like, that's kind of suspicious. Yeah, well, adventures? She's like, okay. Let me look. Oh, no, I have it right here. I have it in my notes.
So a sickle, yeah, that's. Let me take a look at it, and then he hands it over, and she takes a look at it. Okay, this is a much better. Yeah, no, it's pretty good. I'll give you gold for it. Yeah, gold. That's what I'm getting at. Yes, so gold, and then my last little bit here. I'm tipsy, by the way. You introduced yourself. I was rude, and I didn't introduce myself. I'm tipsy. And he points at Onyx. Onyx, Rock, Toot Toot. It's nice to meet all of you. I'm Kylor, again. I'm Steam and Steel. I'm Steel Kylor. No, it's Steam and Steel. I'm Steel Kylor. Ha. And then in the back room you hear no, you hear ha. And then she's like, "Oh, okay, he's back." Gold for this sickle. And then what was your last thing? And then he pulls out like 4 pieces, and he goes, "Okay, this one's not as great. This is a broken dwarven short sword with steel. A broken dwarven short sword with steel hilt. It's broken. I was going to use it for repairing stuff, but I don't need it. I don't need this anymore. So here you go." And then now I'm actually going to roll to see how broken it is, because just in my notes it said broken, but 5. And she takes it. She's like, "Yeah, well, I can't do a lot with this because you're missing half of it. So I can do half as good as I would normally pay. So just 5 gold. And then Tipsy's like, "Oh, 5 gold. You got yourself a deal." And then you hear in the back,
"Oi, get your sister off of that. Untie your sister right now."
And then you hear, "Oh, but come on."
"No. Hey, was it fun?
"Yes."
Was it safe?"
"Not the safest thing I've ever done."
"All right, now untie your sister. And where's your mother?"
She's out talking to new customers."
"Customers?"
And then you see the thick curtains open up, and then you see a very frightening shark face come right out.
"No customers, hello."
And when the shark says hello, then you see all of the teeth. And what this is a great white head with just super wide shoulders that tapers down into like a stocky male form, shirtless, and you see 2 scars underneath the pecs. And as the 4 boys are just surprised with this back room reveal, then the shark clocks everyone's eye contact and looks down at the scars.
"Yeah, well, you should see the other guy."
And then he kind of thwaps Toot Toot, who's closest to him, and Toot Toot goes, "Ha, yes."
"I'm Bruce. This is my wife, Kylor, and from seeing how one had the other tied up, you've met Smalls and Bubbles already?"
"Yes, we have,"
Toot Toot says. What a fun family dynamic." And Bruce goes,
"Yeah, that's nice. That's real nice to say, thank you. We have a handsome family, and I love us very much."
And then he smiles again with all of the teeth that you can see. And then so Bruce goes,
"All right, so what can we do for you?"
And then Kylor goes,
We already got a fragile pole, 7 foot, sickle, and then half of a dwarven short sword with steel hilt."
"Oh, all right. We can do some stuff with that. Do you need anything else?"
Yes, they do. What else do they need? And then at this point, Tipsy goes, well, as a matter of fact, if you think that was cool, then you should see this. And then he reaches like shoulder deep into his bag and then pulls up 10-pound silver ingot and then thunk, places it on one of the metallic tables, and then you hear, oh, that's nice. And then he pulls up another one, thunk, and because Tipsy only has 2 silver bars. Yeah. And he goes, now this, boys. And then the rest of them, Onyx fetches out 2. Rock fetches out 2 silver bars from their various pockets and bags. And then Toot Toot brings out 4. Yes. Yes. This was a mistake on Onyx's part. So Toot Toot brings up 4, and then Toot Toot goes, yes, we have 2 each. We have this one. He holds up one of the 4, and then he looks over at Onyx. This one was your second one. Onyx, do you have another silver bar? And Onyx, like, his eyes are wide. And then he goes, whoops. And then Toot Toot goes, I guess this one's yours. And then he hands Onyx a bar, and Onyx, like, steals a stare at Tipsy, and then Tipsy, like, both of them are wide-eyed at each other, and Tipsy's like, play it cool, man, play it cool.
Yeah, whoops. This one, we can split all the 4 of us.
And then Tipsy's eyes are really wide, like, man, shut the fuck up. And then Onyx is like, and both of them are like centimeters away from each other with their eyes super wide. And then Toot Toot goes, well, that is, Onyx, that is very generous. Thank you. And then this last third one will also be split amongst the 4 of us. And then altogether they have 2, 8. They have 10 altogether. And then Kylor and Bruce, like, stack them up 4, 3, 2, 1 on the anvil. And then, like, Kylor steps back and goes, that is a lot of silver. You all have been adventuring pretty good, huh? Yeah, me and Bruce adventured once. And then she, like, hooks her thumb over her shoulder, and then on the walls you can see, like, this display of, like, some leather armor, kind of a little bit in a shadow box, but more like in just in a presentational, like, one of the red lights is shining up at it, because everything's kind of downlit here, shining up at it. And then she goes, yep, me and Bruce went on one adventure, and I prefer doing this instead. Like, it was a really fun adventure, like a really, really fun adventure. And we had some friends. So Bruce here is a Triton.
Yep, I can fart with my hand.
And then he, like, does a little farty move, because Tritons, which are like merfolk kind of race in D&D, they have, oh dang, what is it? They have poison spray. And Tipsy goes, no way, so can I. And then he points at Bruce, but then, like, corrects upwards, and then Tipsy's palm farts upwards, and then everyone laughs because that was funny. But Kylo says, yeah, so Bruce is a Triton, and then we had one of our other friends who was a Triton, and we had a whole adventure, and it was really, really cool. But
we're doing this now. We have an awesome family. So we will totally buy all the silver off of you, by the way. I don't know, like, we will love to have it. I don't know if you'll get, just to be fair, I don't know if you'll get more money off of like a jeweler or something. And all of these silver bars from episode 6, Kenku Confrontations, just looking at that again. Yeah, episode 6 Confrontation. All of these are silver bars that they found in the closet of the warehouse where Kenku's were, and it was just a box full of a bunch of silver bars. And they are black with corrosive soot like all on it. So while handling it, then you can get the black off. And most of the black is smudged off from all of the silver bars. But it's kind of pitted and dented a little bit. So none of them are pretty bars that you see in casino movies or in a bank with a big old like safe wall door entranceway, but they're all functional silver bars. And Kylo goes, yeah, we were actually literally running low on silver for weapons against lycanthropes. So like the werewolves and weretigers and werebears and wereboars. And then Tipsy's wide eyes from staring at Onyx whip around to Kylor. And were-rats? Yeah, some were-rats? Yeah. Silver is one of the only things to hurt a lycanthrope. So every once in a while, it's more like seasonal. We silver up some weapons, and then people buy them, and because, people hear rumors, and more like in the autumn, that's really when the scariest stuff happens, and But people, like, there's demand for it every once in a while, but these are really hard to find. So, like, kudos. And then 10 split among all of you, that's got to be a lot. So, yeah. Let me check my notes real quick, sorry. So they go, yeah. Kylo says, so since actually we need these, the normal price, well, since we're actually in need of them, we will, what do you say, 7?
7 on top of, yeah, that sounds fair. Yeah, a price.
Normally they're 50 gold each, which is a lot. But since we really have like maybe a third of a bar left, then we'll be willing to give you 7 more gold on top of, like, for each. So 57 gold each for 10 of these, 570 gold. That's on top of what I gave you. Well, on top of what I will give you for all the other stuff you turned in. That's pretty penny. Yeah. And then just the fear of Onyx. So Tipsy's wide eyes with the Onyx confrontation, and then the wide eyes over to the were-rat realization. Now Tipsy's eyes just spin in his head like a casino coin, like a quarter machine, and then you can hear clink clink, not dollar signs, but gold dragons clink clink into his eyes. And he goes, that sounds great. We can split that, huh? That sounds pretty good. And then he looks at the rest of the boys, and they go, what then? That is very generous. Thank you. And she goes, yeah, of course. Well, let me go in the back to get the gold. If you need anything else, talk to this handsome guy. And then she leaves, and then Bruce, the giant shark triton, kind of like, no,
and then is bashful.
So, I didn't get everyone's name.
And then Tipsy, Onyx, Rock, Toot Toot.
It's great to meet you. And you're new here, because I haven't seen you around here.
Yeah, we literally just moved in.
Well, that's great. It's good to have you. Hold on.
And then Bruce goes over to one of the many walls of weapons, and then he pulls out this metallic tomahawk with this red and white ribbons wrapped around it and tied and have little designs, and especially the handle where they like crisscross back and forth. And he goes,
"Oh, chop? Yeah?"
And then Tipsy goes, "I don't know what that means."
"Oh, well, it's one of the beloved sports around here."
Oh, sports ball.
Yeah, I suppose. Sports ball. Huh.
And then you hear in the other room, "Huh." And he goes,
"Yeah, well, if you like it, we have a great team that we root for all the time. It's the Brave Griffins. So we cheer on the Braves, and it's really great. So if you're ever interested, we can go over to, because I love having new friends. We can always go to the Field of Triumph and watch a game there if you're interested. It's not. That place never tells a lie, because it's the truest place. Truest park. Yeah."
And then Tipsy goes, "I'm sure these are references, but I don't get them."
"No, it's okay. No, someone will, and someone will love them. Oi!"
And then Bruce yells to the back,
"When you get that, where's your brother?"
And then you hear Smalls going,
"Oh, well,
And then you hear some rummaging around a little bit. And then Kylor comes out with just these like 4 big old sacks of coin jangling as she's walking. And they're so big that they like eclipse her. So you can't see her over the big bags. And then she tosses them to the boys, and then they like they don't. Okay, that sounded like they all exploded, but they. She throws the bags of coins forward, and the coins meet at the bags of coins meet at their feet, and then she goes, "That's all the money we owe you." And Nugget is coming very soon, so yeah, don't worry. She looks over at Bruce. Yeah, he's coming very, very, very soon. He will be here very shortly. So, do you mind if you take them home?
"Oh yeah, no, that's fun."
Then he goes to through the curtains again, and he brings out. Well, he's back there for a little bit.
"All right, get your coat on. Yeah, great. And then let's put the scarf over Bubbles. There we are. Come on, let's go say goodbye to our new friends."
And so he emerges from the back room, and you see him holding Smalls, who is in a winter coat, and then Bruce also has a giant coat on, with like a cool. It's a cool net pattern, but it's only a pattern. It's not like an actual net, because we respect sharks. And we don't want any harm to come to them. So it's just a pattern, like a nautical, aquatic themed, like cool winter coat. And then he's holding Smalls kind of sitting in his arm. And then he is bringing behind him the glass globe, and the globe, excuse me, The globe is tied 4 different ways with a scarf that is dangling to Bruce's hand, and he's tugging it along. And then the baby inside the globe is staring at my 4 boys, and Bruce goes,
All right, now, Smalls, what are you saying?
Goodbye, it was nice to meet you.
That's a good girl.
and then Bruce looks up at Bubbles, who's also doing the baby hand grabby, like, hi, bye thing while sucking the thumb. And
okay, great. Gentlemen, it was great meeting you. I need to take these 2 home because we have the 3rd coming. And, let me tell you, if you think this is chaotic, we have 3 blink dogs and 2 displacer beasts at home. So we don't know where anyone is at any point in time. It's chaotic. It's a zoo. But we love it. So we'll see you gentlemen shortly, and let me know if you want sports ball.
Huh. And then Kylo goes, ha.
Great. It was great meeting you.
And then my 4 boys, thank you, yeah, bye. And then they leave, and you can see, well, no, because the windows are closed. But they leave, and she goes, Kylo goes, yep, he's a good one, and I love my family. So, great. It was fantastic meeting y'all. I will, if you have any other cool metal stuff, I am the weapons gal, and then he
oh, Spanish mustache.
ate my voice up. I do the weapons, and then hooks a thumb over towards the exit way where Bruce departed. He's armor guy, so if you need any of those things, metallic, we work best in that. And then Onyx goes,
actually, I have something that I want to talk to you about. But it's a little personal.
And then he looks up at Toot Toot and Rock.
Do you 2 mind waiting outside?
And then Toot Toot goes,
what? Not at all. Look at what?
And Tipsy?
No, Tipsy can stay.
Huh. Wow. Yeah. Onyx, we will gladly wait outside. Oh, we can maybe catch Bruce outside and then talk to him a little bit. And then Rock goes, yes, that'll be delightful. It was great meeting you, Kylo. Thank you very much, and we will definitely be back.
Yeah, great.
And so both of them leave in a little bit of a scurry to try and see Bruce walking across the street. And then Kylo goes, oh, yeah, well, yeah, how can I help you? And then Onyx looks over at Tipsy, and Tipsy gives one nod.
Okay, so we have some more silver that is we found it first.
Yeah, well, that's ineloquent, but yeah. So this is our cut. Like, we love them and they're great guys, but we just finder's fee. That's fair, right?
Yeah, finder's fee.
And then Kylo goes, okay, I'm not gonna mess with that or anything. So how much more do you have? And then Onyx brings out 4 more silver. Yes, 4 more silver, and places them on top of the pile. So it's 5, 4, 3, 2 on the anvil, which works out great because I never really think. Well, occasionally I think like 10, and that's perfect. Like 4, 3, 2, 1. So he does that, and Kyler goes, all right, that's 228 more for both of you. That's pretty handsome. And so she goes out in the back and brings out another bag of coins. But this is a big old bag of coins, so you might want to hide it from the others.
Oh yeah, no, we got it. We're good at hiding stuff. Onyx, could you put that in your bag?
Yeah.
And so Onyx got fooled again to carry the heavy load of stuff. So, and then Onyx goes,
well, actually, I did want to talk to you about something. Since you do armor, do you do tanning too?
And Kyler goes, not really. We assemble stuff. That's more us. So if you got like, we call them organics. If you got organics, then you have to go find a tanner. And this might go a little bit longer than 9:30 because I have a little treat at the end. So, Kylor says, yeah, me and Handsome over there, we are part of the most careful order of skilled smiths and metal forgers, and then Bruce is part of the splendid order of armorers, locksmiths, and finesmiths. And then Tipsy perks up, going, locksmith, you say? So thieves' tools aren't illegal here? And then Kyler goes, well, don't call them thieves' tools. Call them fine wrecking tools or fine, like tinkering tools, and we can skirt by the legality. This is getting more and more questionable. Oh, yeah, no, I didn't mean, I'm just skilled with the fine wrecking tools. I am proficient in that. That is part of my load. That's what I meant. Like these. And so he brings out his one bag of thieves' tools, his one thieves' tools kit with 2 thieves' tools worth of tools inside, and then it's kind of bulging, and he unzips it like a headphone case. He unzips it, and she goes, oh yeah, well, that'll be definitely part of that guild. So, yeah. Are you interested? Well, since y'all are new here, are you going to join that guild? And then Tipsy goes, I don't know, maybe. I'm thinking about it. We're all learning about everything here. So, brave sports ball, huh? It's not really a sports ball. It's more a chop, and then don't worry. So what else did you want to talk about though? Onyx?
Yeah, so if you don't do tanning, I have a lot of bones. Can you do something with that?
Bones like
this.
And then he kind of gestures to his beard, and it has braids in it, but they have vertebra as the hair ties.
Like that, and then
he kind of gestures to his back, and it has the femurs and the other leg bones of the troll in a kind of picket fence gate kind of arrangement.
Can you make that put into like better armor, like actual armor?
And then she goes, huh. Well, Bruce knows more about that than I, but actually, literally scientifically a long time ago, people from the north thought, because they had rudimentary iron, so they would take the bones of like the animals that they killed, or like ancestral bones, and they would, because they wanted to like infuse their weapons with ancestral spirits and the strength of the animals that they killed, they would actually combine the bones into the iron that they had. And they didn't know it, but because of the carbon in the bones, then they melded it with the weapons, and they unintentionally made rudimentary steel. So they literally did make stronger weapons with the bones. So we could do that. And to break the narrative a little bit, like ancient Scandinavians did that. And I thought it was really cool. And throughout this adventure, I was like, oh, 2 and 2 together. So back into it. We can do that if you want. And then Onyx goes,
no. I want just the bones.
And Kyler goes, okay, well, literally still, Bruce would know a lot more about that than I, but we could like make like a bone guard or something where
if you've seen those helms, like these hats almost, and then these little strips of like for big suits of armor, you put it down and then you see, or for some sports balls you have like a face guard. Like we can do that, but for like actual body armor and stuff, we can incorporate the bones into that if you want to come back later. And then Onyx goes,
Yes, that sounds very good.
and then he kind of trudges out, and Tipsy goes, "Oh, okay, well, I guess we're done. Thank you. It was great meeting you." And then Kyler goes, "Yeah, I'll see you later. Okay, bye." And so then they leave, and I have in my notes the thing about the weapons and the bones and the carbon and iron and steel, but then a deleted scene joke. I have a lot of deleted scene jokes in my notes that like I'm like, oh, if I like this will be funny to say because I think of it as I'm making notes, but then while I am getting into this, then I often overlook them. So one of the Kylor notes was her saying, "But now of course we have like actual magic." So about the infusing the spirits into the weapons and how it didn't work for actual science stuff, but now they have actual magic, so for magic-like properties. So to fast forward a little bit, then they all get their gold, they all delete some of the stuff from the inventory so I can make that adjustment, and then they have the beds delivered to the Troll Skull Manor, and they're beautiful, like large. Each one is different. Each one fits very well into the room, and each character, when they lay on it, they're like, "Oh, this feels great!" Like it's the perfect, just stretchable dimensions with what Woodrow measured, and they're setting up the very sparse and bare rooms that they have. The beds also have like these beautifully intricate carvings on the outer edges of it, of designs of a very like nature, like vines and trunks and trees, and each bed has each of the characters carved on them respectively also. So like on each of the four sides of the box frame, there's a little tiny forest gnome on each one, and each one's posing in a different way, and it's very cool. It's very ancient Greece vases almost. And as Tipsy is figuring, like, they're all in their rooms and they're winding down for the evening, and as Tipsy, let me go to my notes, sorry. As Tipsy's arranging his room, which is again the spare room on the second floor, so it's a tighter space. So he set up his bed, and it came with a bed and like a cushion, like a mattress, and some sheets and some pillows, so that I don't have to worry about that later. And he's adjusting them all, and he's making his bed, and he has Waddles out. He has Waddles out, and sitting on a pillow, and he's fluffing the pillow, and then he can hear footsteps outside his door, and then a knock. And he's like, "Okay, 2 seconds." And so he fluffs the bed, and because he's never had a bed before, so he's just admiring it. He's like, "Wow, this is a very good day." So he turns around, and he turns around from the 2 windows on that side of the room where it's evening now, so it's dark outside. And he goes, "Okay, sorry, hold on." And then he opens the door, and there's nothing there. And he goes, "Huh." He kind of pokes his head out a little bit, but it wasn't long enough for anyone
to walk away, and he didn't hear footsteps leaving the door. And then you can hear from behind Tipsy a and then Tipsy goes,
Waddles, is that you?
and then you can hear from Tipsy's foot, Waddles, as Tipsy looks down, Waddles looks up and goes,
No.
then who was it? And so they both turn around and they see the finishing of a tankard rolling and coming to stillness. And it's a still room. And Tipsy looks up, and the pillow he was fluffing is sitting in the middle of the room, hovering in the air. And then it just drops. Floofs down on the ground, and you can see the dust kick up. And Tipsy goes, "Oh my God. Oh my God." And then he leaves. He backs out the open door, and then he screams bloody hell as he runs up the stairs, screaming for Onyx, to the 3rd floor. And that is where we're going to end tonight. I gave myself goosebumps. I literally gave myself goosebumps, y'all. So that is that's amazing. I wanted that little touch of an epilogue at the end. That means episode 13 is D&Spooky. That means next episode, October 27th, will be a Halloween-themed spooky episode. Oh, the timing of that, I literally could not have worked that out better if I planned it, if I wrote it from the beginning. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Victor Rivera, and this is D&Me. A one-man show where I play D&D with myself. I stream on Wednesday nights on Twitch at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I upload the video the following morning, Thursdays, on my YouTube page. Today's show will be up tomorrow, Thursday, October 21st, and next week's episode, the spooky D&Spooky Halloween episode, will be live Wednesday, October 27th. You can find me on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, in podcast form on Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and others. I have merch on Redbubble. I have a Toot Toots ongoing Spotify playlist. I didn't do any songs this time. That's fine. An IMDb page and an Amazon wishlist. And where can you find all that? On my link tree. That's linktr.ee/DnMeAdventures. And now I get to roll to see which of my characters gives tonight's outro. I have Tipsy and Onyx left, but I'll throw in Woodrow, Spanish Mustache, Kylor, and Bruce in that order. 5. So Kylor. Thanks everyone for watching D&Me Adventures. It's a great show. And Victor, I will talk to you tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Yeah. Great. Okay, bye.